Hello there, hello there. Today I would want us to learn something to do with advanced Excel. Excel is a functionality that comes with the Microsoft Office package. And today I would want us to see how powerful Microsoft Excel is. You have Microsoft Word, you have Microsoft Outlook, you have Microsoft PowerPoint and all that. But today I would want us to narrow down and look at advanced Excel. When you talk about Excel, I want us to look and narrow down to two functionalities, and it is summation and multiplication. Now, how do you carry out summation and multiplication in Excel? Let's start with summation. To demonstrate to you how you can maybe use the Excel functionalities to do summation, I want to come up with a range of numbers, just very few of them. For example, 450, 1500. Another number I can come up with is, for example, 1230, 10,000. Yeah, 1500, I think, let's say 25,000, like that. Yeah, so with this range of numbers, assume you want to get the total sum. I'm just using this as an example, but in your workplace, or you can have a range of data where you have several numbers that you are dealing with and you would want to get their summation, their total sum. How do you do it? This here will demonstrate to you. Now, people are used to using this functionality called equal sum, where you'll just come here and say equal to sum, and Excel will show you all the possible functionalities that goes with the sum. Yeah, so here you can see we have the sum, we have the sum ifs, we have the sum product, the sum SQ. We are not going to look at all those for now. Let us concentrate on the first summation functionality. Now you'll see it is highlighted in blue. What does that mean? That because it's highlighted in blue, if you just double click on it, it will become active. So there are two ways to pick up that formula that is already highlighted in blue. If you want to pick it up, you can either double click or you click on the tab key on your keyboard. Tab key on your keyboard is on the top left next to escape. With the normal layout of keyboards in most computers, it is on the top left, unless you're using a MacBook, because MacBook sometimes the layout of the keyboard is a bit different, but look for the key labeled tab. Now, once you tab, because for myself I will tab, I like using that key, Excel will now start telling you what you want to input, and Excel is asking you to put in the numbers, number 1, number 2, and all that. So easily, I will just come and highlight the numbers that I want to add. Once I've done that, even if I don't close that bracket there and I just hit Control Enter, I will get already an answer. And that is the correct answer, that is the correct output for that functionality which I was doing there. Now, that is one formula. That is one approach in which you can do that. The second approach to do that, or to make sure that you get the summation of these numbers without using the equal sum formula, is something called sum if, where you'll just say, not sum if, sorry, it is alt equals, like that. I want us to use alt equals instead of the summation. Now, you will get the same answer if you use alt equals. So how do we do it? Let's test it ourselves. I will hold on alt. You can see my other hand is free and I'm holding on alt. Then I will just go and hit equal. Once like that, you'll see the range of numbers already highlighted. When I click on Control Enter, I will have an output and you'll be surprised that we are getting the same answer. Two different functionalities gives us the same output. So what is my preference? I would prefer that you use alt equals. Alt equals will always make your work very easy. Yeah, so that is how to do summation of a range of numbers. Regardless of the numbers and regardless of the size of the data you are dealing with, if you use alt equals, it will highlight for you all the range of numbers that you have in that order. Then it will give you the total sum very easily, like that. That is one functionality of Excel that is very handy for you as a professional, as a student, or as an Excel enthusiast, or as someone who wants to embrace and learn more about technology. Let's move a notch higher. And what are we going to do next? I want us to look at something to do with multiplication. Multiplication is another functionality in Excel that I would want us to look at and see how powerful, or maybe how does Excel carry this out for us. Now, there we go. There we go. So that is the second functionality, and here, let me just now do it down somewhere here. So it is multiplication like that. Now, to do multiplication, I want us also to come up with a range of numbers. And to make it easier to understand, let me just talk about price and quantity. We know how to get revenue. We normally know very well that revenue is price, that is the selling price, you multiply by quantity. If you're a business person, you are selling anything and you want to know that how much revenue am I making, you would multiply the selling price per item that you are selling by the quantity sold, so that you say, this is the revenue I'm making. So let me come up with the prices. One item you're selling at 15 shillings, another one you are selling at, for example, 70 shillings, another one you are selling at 100, or 1,000 at 100, leaves you 100, another item you are selling at 50 shillings, then another item you are selling at, for example, 200. Yeah, let's use that. And the quantities you are selling, for example, the one you are selling at 15, you've sold, for example, 175 of them. Then this item whose price is 70, you've only sold, let's say, 56 of them. This item whose price is 100, you are selling, for example, 25 of them. This item whose price is 50, you are going to sell, let's say, 100 of them. This item whose price is 200, you're going to sell, let's say, 3 of them. Now, how do we get the total revenue for all these items that we've sold? Now, to get the revenues, regardless of the range of data you have, whether there are 1,000, a million columns, rows, and all that, it doesn't matter. Excel will always do its work for you. Now, I want to show you how to do multiplication using Excel, and it is very easy and very interesting at the same time, guys. So let's see. Here, under totals, you'll click on that cell. Once you click on that cell, now that cell is ready for the next step. It is ready for editing. Once it does that, just come and put an equal sign. Putting an equal sign in a cell in Excel instructs Excel to be ready for a formula or for a computation functionality. So once I do that, I will go and pick on the price, which is 15. You can see it has already given me a reference to that cell. That cell D20 is already highlighted. Then I tell Excel, I want to multiply that cell D20 with this quantity of 175, like that. And quantity 175 is on cell E20, and you can see it as reference to that very easily, like that. Very interesting. Oh, now once you've reached there, just click on enter and you'll get your output for that. So 15 multiplied by 175 is 2625. Now, my friend, regardless of the quantity of data you have down here, do not, and you cannot do this thing line by line. The same way you've done for this item sold at 15 and the 175 of them being sold, do not come here and do the same. Come here, do the same. The next line you do the same. The next line, you'll take a whole day. You'll take several hours for you to be able to complete whatever you're doing. Once you've done the first one and you can see it like that, to make that cell active the way I've just done, you can just either double click or you click on F2 key. If your F2 key alone is not working, use function F2. Function F2, there is an Fn key next to the Windows key. Click on that and then click on F2. That cell will become active with that formula. Now, after we've done that, I would want us to autofill. To autofill means we are telling Excel to use the same formula to come up with output for all the other cells that follow below. How do we do it? Once my cursor is still on the same cell, I want you to look at the cell itself. And you should be able to pinpoint. Whenever I move the cursor around this cell, along the edges of this cell, I want you to notice how my cursor will change. And if I move it around, you'll see that when my cursor reaches the top down, the bottom right corner of that cell, my cursor will change to be black. Are you able to see that? Are you able to see that? It was white when it was hovering around the Excel sheet, worksheet. But now, when I bring it to the top, bottom right corner, you can see my my cursor is now turning to be black. It's a cross, a dark cross. Now, that sign there tells you that point is an active part. We normally call it an angry rabbit. An angry rabbit, when you hold onto its tail, that is the tail now. it is angry, and if you hit it twice, it will run like nobody else's business. So what do we do there? Just come here and double click. Have you seen what has happened? Magic. When you double click on that angry rabbit, at that point, it will autofill for you. Now, all these autofilled output down here are the correct multiplications of the price and quantity for each line. Interesting, right? Even if I double click or I click on F2 key or function F2 key to activate my formula, you'll see what Excel has done. It has multiplied this price by this quantity, and that has happened across all the cells. You can even see this one. So it has done the correct thing, which I wanted it to do anyway. You see that? That is the function of Excel. Now, I want to show you another interesting way that we can use the multiplication functionality in Excel, and this is interesting. Now, let's go. Now, I want us to come up with another range of numbers. Let's assume product you are selling, for example, product Y1 and product Y2, like that. Then, product Y1 and Y2, then we come up with, for example, quantities. Let's say there is quantity 1, and then quantity 2 like that, then quantity 3. I think having 3 of them like that is enough. Then I would want us to, because you want to multiply, then we want us to do something. Will this really bring out the multiplication which I'm looking at? Someone might get confused here. But this demonstration here, we can use it to demonstrate summation. But I already shown you the best way to do summation, so there is no need to worry about that. I don't want somebody to get confused because we are just starting. There is a lot more waiting for us, So here I've shown you how to do multiplication in Excel, and there is something that, guys, you have to remember. In primary, for those of you who learned some time back, at the back of your exercise book, there was a multiplication table. Do you remember that? I believe you do. A multiplication table where you had to cram and you had to know, if you multiply 7 by 6, what are you getting? If you multiply 9 by 5, what are you getting? And all that. We can come up with the same multiplication table right here, right now. Let's go and do it. I want us to come up with a range of numbers, number 1 to number 9 on a row, number 1 to number 9 on a column. How do we do that? We are using Excel. We must not type everything. Good. We must not type everything. Now, I will type on 1, then Control Enter. My cursor remains within the same cell. That's why I'm clicking on Control before I click on Enter. Then I want to use Alt, the Alt key. I want you to hold on to the Alt, then click on H, right? Once you click on Alt, then H, then I want you to go slowly, so that you come up with the series function. And to come up with the series function, you, after clicking on Alt, H, I want you to go to F. When you go to F, go to I. When you go to I,